Okay, so let me try and summarize the difference between Stackelberg and Cournot. In the Stackelberg problem, the Stackelberg leader is choosing its output to maximize its profits, given how its output is going to influence how much the follower decides to produce, right? Because the leader gets to pre-commit to how much it's going to produce. That's going to be observed by the follower and is going to influence the follower's decision about how much to produce. And so if we go back to this graph with the two reaction functions, we can see here that the Cournot equilibrium occurs where the two reaction functions cross. But the Stackelberg equilibrium falls on the follower's reaction function, but not the leader's reaction function. And the reason is because the leader is maximizing its profits by choosing a quantity which is influencing how much the other firm will produce. It's not the quantity that would maximize its profits if the follower's quantity produced was fixed at some amount. Okay? The key is that it has to produce a little bit more to get the follower to produce a little bit less. Okay, so if we go back and compare the numerical values of the answers in this problem, let's focus on this first column here that gives the quantity. We can see in a monopoly market, there would be 15 units produced. If you add up the quantities produced by both firms in the Cournot duopoly, you would get 20 units produced. And if you did the same thing in the Stackelberg duopoly, you would get 22.5 units produced. Okay? Now, if we plot these, this is a rough plot, we can see that the point that denotes the price and quantity under oligopoly is different depending on whether we use the assumptions of the Cournot model or whether we use the assumptions of the Stackelberg model. Okay? So it shows that there isn't just one answer of what happens in an oligopoly market. It's going to depend on the assumptions that we use. Okay? So I want to take one more look at the profit functions in the Cournot and in the Stackelberg case. So can you see what the difference is here? Ignore the cost part on the Cournot, ignore the cost part overall. Look at the revenue part. What is the difference between a Stackelberg leader, their profit function, and the Cournot profit function? Well, the difference is that in the Cournot problem, the firm is maximizing its profits given how much it believes the other firm is going to produce. But if the other firm were going to deviate from that, it wouldn't change their decision. Right? Whereas in the Stackelberg case, the Stackelberg leader knows that the follower is actually going to observe the leader's output decision. And so their decision of how much to produce, that's the leader's decision, directly influences how much the follower will produce. And so in the leader's profit function, before taking the derivative, you want to plug in the follower's reaction function. If you plug in before you take the derivative, then in the derivative, you're accounting for how the follower's output choice depends on the leader's output choice. If you plug in later, then you're not accounting for that. Okay. Every year, a number of students mix up Cournot and Stackelberg problems. So I have this slide here, and I want to ask you, is this solving the Cournot or Stackelberg problem? Okay. What I encourage you to do is to actually pause the video while you're thinking what the answer would be, and then resume the video once you've come up with your answer. So pause it now. Okay, so the answer is, this is the Stackelberg case. So first we're solving for the follower's reaction function. And then if you see about halfway down, the profit for firm one, that's the profit for the leader. And you know that's a profit for the leader because we're plugging in the other firm's reaction function before we're taking the derivative. So this is solving the Stackelberg problem. Okay? And then I ask here whether this is solving the Cournot or Stackelberg problem, but you could look at this and by ruling out the Stackelberg problem, you could see that this is the Cournot problem. So we're taking the derivative of each firm's profit function, sort of treating the other firm's output as a constant, and solving for each firm's reaction function. And then we're finding the quantities such that both reaction functions are satisfied. Okay. So as much as I'd like to keep talking now, I can hear the music on the beach starting to play for the party. So I have to go. Have a good one, and I will see you all soon.